Hi guys, it's Tim here in Zone 5. It's a few weeks out before our last frost date, and in this quick video you're going to learn what we're doing to get ahead of the growing season. You can take some of these tips away to grow more food in your garden. But just a few weeks ago we actually had snow on the ground. This footage was shot about 5 weeks ago. At the end of February we started a lot of crops under this double insulated hoop house. I removed the cover 2 weeks ago. I have some nice lettuce and arugula. I also have some other red lettuce, some dill over there that's been planted, kale, as well as some Bambi bib lettuce. And there's some more kale. These were direct sown, actually in February. Onions, and we have some baby carrots. Over on this bed, I have my Happy Rich broccoli. The hope is that they're going to give me more yields than a larger big head broccoli. Have some more kale, it's Toscano kale, and some winter boar kale. I have a few different kinds of Swiss chard this year, and then I have some beets. So this is a 4x4 raised bed, and I have 3 different varieties of strawberries that I got at Johnny's. This is Early Glow, Sparkle Strawberry, and Jewel Strawberry. And these are all, these will actually yield at different times of the year. So I planted them this year, and they will be ready next year. So I'm going to take the flowers off so they actually make the roots stronger this year, and then in June, mid-June, and then July, we'll have strawberries next year. Here's a quick photo on what the roots looked like before I planted them. This bed hasn't been planted yet. I'm going to be transplanting some basil and squash, and this is actually the potato bed. The other side of this bed are potatoes. I have potatoes that are starting to come up, and then this is another 4x4 bed where I have garlic. I've planted these pretty densely, 4 per square foot. Now this has worked well in the past, and you know, this is coming out really nicely. Over here, I'm gonna have actually corn in this 4x4 raised bed. These are actually in the grow room right now, the corn. I'm gonna direct seed some as well as transplants. So over here, this is where I put my hoop house. This is actually just warming up the soil right now. It's about yesterday. It actually got up to 140 degrees in here. It's probably a little too hot, but I'm going to be planting out cucumbers and tomatoes in here very soon. Cucumbers will go in a couple more days. It's actually going to get down to 39 degrees tonight, so it's still a little cool, but I'm going to transplant the cucumbers in here in a couple days, and I'm going to leave it vented most of the time because it would get way too hot if it wasn't vented, but it's going to hopefully keep a consistent temperature in the evening, and that'll be great to get a head start on cucumbers and tomatoes. This is my herb bed over here. Onions growing. Herbs have not come out yet. They're still in the grow room. On this bed I've got, these were started under the double cover and in the grow room. This is Swiss mammoth peas. These are my favorite peas. And they have really beautiful flowers. So over here on the deck I have my tomatoes that I'm hardening off. These were started back in March, and these are about, I think, 10 different types of tomatoes. And these are all indeterminate varieties. You can prune them to a single stem and they can grow up a trellis. Determinate are actually the bush type, and they like to be in a cage. So I'm sticking to indeterminate varieties, and these are all really early varieties. So for example, this one is a Sakura. I think it's about 50 to 55 days to building fruit. So the idea is I have a short growing season up here in New England, and I want to get some really early varieties, so I have tomatoes early in the season. And I also have, here are the cucumbers that are hardening off. Oh, and the little guy wants to get in. Hold on one moment. These cucumbers are great. These are, I think, a Johnny Select variety. I will put the link in the description, but these have given me great yields. I grow these up on a trellis, go up about 7-8 feet. Huge yields. I can get about 100 cucumbers from one plant. But you'll notice that some of the plants actually did not do very well. So check this out. You know, these were started both at the same time, so it's really good to grow many of them. And it's so early in the season that I actually have in the grow room some others that are growing, because you get some that are, you know, sometimes don't do so well. And these are, I think, 3.5 by 3.5 pots. And these are perfect. Tomatoes I started in 4x4 pots. Started half with soil, and once the plant's about a few inches high, I'll add more soil to, you know, provide some stability to them. And since I'm planting them out in a couple days, I'm not going to up pot them. I think they'll do just fine. All right, so over in these pots, these are fairly sizable pots, and I actually have hops that are going to be growing in here. So these were, you know, started a few weeks ago, and I have a special video coming out that I'll be posting in a couple weeks, or maybe a few weeks once they start sprouting. But a how-to video on how to grow hops, experimenting with, you know, grow my own hops. Probably gonna make some tea and beer. Now let's go take a look at the grow room. Before we do, don't forget to subscribe so you're notified of new videos. All right, so here we are in the grow room. This is a T5 grow light. This has 6 bulbs, a lot of different basils. So this year, I'm actually trying to grow many different varieties of basil. I thought that would be really fun. I have a sacred basil, lemon basil, lime basil, large leaf Italian basil. I've got quite a few eggplants that we're growing here. These are doing really well. And then a large variety of peppers. Right, I'm gonna actually have to up pot some of these because there's still a few weeks before they get set out. Here in Zone 5, I'm gonna plant these out in the end of May. Then I have more peppers, bring some sunflowers, and different varieties of flowers for the backyard. This is a thermostat, and what I do is I put this under the tray, and you can actually set this to whatever temperature you'd like. This is a probe. You put this in the soil, and this will actually, the mat's right down here, and the mat will heat up, you know, based on the temperature of the soil. And this is very helpful because each seed has a different germination temperature. So I'll put a link to a chart where you can see the germination temperatures, and you know, that's where you can basically set your temperature to the corresponding, you know, temperature of the seed germination. So that's why you get, you know, awesome germination. So actually these sunflowers, they germinated in just a few days. So I really recommend a heat mat. I hope you found seeing what I'm doing in my garden helpful, and you can take some of these ideas back into your garden to grow more food. If you have any questions or comments, please post them below, and also like and subscribe to the video. More content will be coming out soon now that we're in the growing season.